This week on Jon Thelen's Destination Fish, we start on a midsummer walleye bite. These fish are on the in-between, stuck between midsummer and late summer locations and feeding patterns. Jon Thelen's Destination Fish is brought to you by Lindy Fishing Tackle and Alumacraft Boats. Couldn't ask for a prettier morning. Midsummer. Kind of that in-between right now. In between live bait, Lindy rigs, leeches, crawlers are probably more desirable right now for most walleyes. But guys are starting to think about crankbait season, and it's just not quite here yet. Water temps are warming up, and this happens every single year in this July timeframe. But I'm going to show you exactly how I do it at this time of the year, and a great lure and technique that'll help you catch more fish, because it was built for right now. There's one. Oh boy, he smashed it right when I stopped it. And what I mean by stopping it, I just set my sinker down, my bottom bouncer, and this is what's really cool about fishing this Lindy Lil Guy. When you set that bouncer down, what you can do is actually set it down knowing that you're stopping the bait, and then the bait will suspend because the Lil Guy body floats. So what happens is it just sits right in front of that fish's mouth. He's just looking right at it, and I mean, big fish. Hard for him to resist it because it's just hovering in front of him and suspending right there. And fish like this one right here, I mean, look at that, that's a beautiful eye. That's a beautiful fish no matter where you go. Look at this, get him out of here and show him to you. Look at that walleye. That's good stuff right there. But here's the thing, fish like that right here, man, I'll tell you, float plane going over our head. We're in Canada right now. Let me tell you, what is really, really cool is it doesn't matter where you fish. If you put a bait in front of a walleye's face, hover it there, like I was able to do with this fish with that little guy, you're gonna get him. Because there's no way that that fish can resist it. I mean, that right there, that's just fun stuff. And all I'm doing is just working this bait along with a crawler. Okay, it's a 2-hook harness on there. I'm gonna show you the lure here really quick because it is cool. It's a little floating plastic body, okay? Then it's just like a crawler harness. You got beads, and then it goes to a 2-hook harness. And man, I'll tell you what, it's just a deadly bait when you get to this in-between time. Today we are fishing on famed Lac Seul in northwest Ontario. Key depths range from 12 to 17 feet as these fish are starting to move to deeper water. Air temps and water temps are in the mid-70s, and we're fishing the windy side of structures with 1-inch Lindy Lil Guys in golden chartreuse colors behind 1.5-ounce bottom bouncers. It's midsummer and feeding activity is at its height, making faster speeds of 1.0 to 1.3 with stops and starts critical to triggering more bites. There's one. Same thing, grabbed it right when I stopped it and put it right in front of his face. Same thing. If you do that, I promise you, you're gonna get far more bites by just stopping this bait and giving them a chance to look at it when they're following it. And you know what? You wish you knew when they were following it, right? Well, you know, you don't. So what you gotta do is you just gotta give them that chance. And you just gotta religiously do it as you go. Another great fish. We're gonna keep just a couple for shore lunch dinner tonight. One of the things I'll tell you about these Alumacraft boats that I get asked all the time, and I got asked at the dock last night, you can still choose whatever outboard you want to put on the back of your Alumacraft. If you want to put a Mercury on like you see me running, or any of the other brands, Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, you have that choice with Alumacraft. And I think that's a big thing because so many of these boat manufacturers over the years have taken that choice away, but you still have it if you buy an Alumacraft. You're going to build the boat exactly the way you want it. I've been doing that for 20 years. Jon Thelen's Destination Fish is brought to you by these fine sponsors. Ooh, he bit it. I saw this fish And I said, oh shoot, I'm gonna be too late to get to him because I was just baiting back up. I dropped down as fast as I could and I just kind of let it sit back there a little bit. And that fish must have seen it and he came and grabbed it. I mean, he had to come a little ways because I had already graphed him, I'd already gone over him, and he still came and grabbed it. Good fun stuff, man. We're just picking on them today, one after another. You know, I'll share a location with you a little bit, but I'll share this first. This bait I'm fishing right now, this Lindy Lil Guy, you could fish this anywhere, okay? Makes no difference where you want to fish. You can fish deep, you can fish shallow, you're gonna fish it behind a bottom bouncer, and the bait's gonna float back there, and it sits on this 2-foot snell, 1.5 foot, 2-foot snell, and ultimately it's gonna float back behind that bouncer. But walleyes like that one right there, whether they're out deep later in the summer, or whether they're a little shallower, you know, midsummer like they are right now, you can fish this bait. So what I'm fishing today, 12 to 14 feet, I sneak up into 10 every now and then, and I slide out 17 every now and then. I'm just working in a point that comes out off an island over here. Wind's coming into it. Midsummer, I'm always, you know, I think it's all year long, but I think it's even more pronounced when you get into summer and there's more bait out there, that you want to fish areas that are wind blown, because ultimately if you can do that, what happens is you're fishing areas where some of that bait's being pushed up. It's going to congregate some of those fish. It's one of the things you got to know when you get to midsummer. There is no time like midsummer as far as walleyes being spread out across the whole body of water. Find those wind-driven spots because it's going to push that bait up. You find where that bait's pushed up, you're going to catch fish because the walleyes are going to be there too. 14 feet right off this tip. I just got to beat this up. We're going to get one of these. There he is. Bit it. Got him. Saw these fish. I mean, I just knew. They just can't resist this, and they were just set up perfect right off the tip of this thing. This is one of the things I'll tell you too, is you always want to look for those little changes in structure. And this edge I'm fishing runs pretty straight all the way down, but there's a couple little knobs that come out. And there are fish right off the edge of this knob. This is a really nice fish. Nice one. Look at that. Man. That one there, I just knew. I would have been shocked, to be honest with you, if we didn't get him. But look at that, he's got both hooks in him. You don't think he wanted that bait? Let's talk about speed when you're fishing this bait a little bit, because the one thing about this lure is it's so simple to fish because you can go any speed you want to go. I mean, there's times I'll pull this lure behind a bullet sinker right over the tops of the weeds at 1.7 miles an hour. And then there's times I'll fish it below 1 mile an hour when I'm fishing a tight little edge where they're stacked up right there and I want them to have time to see it. I don't want to line up and just drift over and be done. I want to work that edge. Well, choose baits like this that are going to allow you to fish at higher speeds and be able to work that edge. There we go. That feels like a pretty good fish. Maybe. Yeah. This was one of those times where he was just on a reaction bite because I didn't even get a chance to stop the bait to get this one to hit. This one just hit it. We'll wrap it up with this guy. Look at that. What a day. You know what? When it comes down to it, some of my favorite fishing is when I've got a rod in hand and feel every one of these bites, and I think that is so cool. It's one of the funnest parts of fishing, in my opinion, when you get to feel every single bite. What a great way to wrap it up. Hey, next time you're caught on this in between, next time you're staring down that barrel of July, August time frame, you're not ready to go on cranks yet, you're on the back end of those slow live bait bites, juice it up. Put one of these hybrid baits down. You got the best of both worlds. Running like a crankbait with some live bait behind it.
Jon Thelen's Destination Fish has been brought to you by these great sponsors.